Lauren Bacall exposes Humphrey Bogart's nasty past. Marriage. Lauren Bacall, born Betty Joan Persky in New York City on September 16, 1924, was one of Hollywood's most famous actresses. She became a star and one of the 20th century's greatest movie legends with her dazzling beauty, husky voice, and smoldering gaze. Unassumingly, she became famous. After her parents divorced, Bacall was raised by her mother with determination and grit, which would help her succeed in the cutthroat entertainment industry. She supported herself as a theater usher and model while studying acting at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Modeling got her to Harper's Bazaar when Howard Hawks' wife saw her arresting shot. This event affected her life forever. Bacall played opposite Humphrey Bogart in 1944's To Have and Have Not at 19. The performance established her career and introduced spectators to her now famous expression, a lowered chin, an upward glance born out of fear, but later defining her movie image. The film started a Hollywood love story, not just a debut. Bacall and Bogart fell in love during filming, despite their age gap and Bogart's marriage. After Bogart's divorce, the couple married in 1945 after their public relationship. Starring in The Big Sleep, 1946, Dark Passage, 1947, and Key Largo, 1948, they became one of Hollywood's most beloved and enduring couples. Their on-screen chemistry was electrifying, but their off-screen devotion made them legendary. Bacall called her marriage her happiest time. Bacall was horrified by Bogart's 1957 cancer death. She struggled to rebuild her life and career as a widow and single mother of two. She relied on friends like Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy, and she briefly dated Frank Sinatra, which ended. Despite personal issues, Bacall worked steadily in Hollywood, refusing to be typecast as Bogart's wife and seeking a career. She proved her talent could stand alone by working with equal-profile directors and stars. Bacall had a long career after Bogart. After his death, she built a successful career on her own. She played strong, independent characters that reflected her personality to display her versatility. She starred in Young Man with a Horn, 1950, Written on the Wind, 1956, and Designing Woman, 1957. Later, she was successful theatrically. Acclaimed for her Broadway roles in Cactus Flower and Applause, the latter earning her a 1970 Tony Award. Bacall proved she could act in many mediums as well as feature in films. She had a long career after noir. Bacall adapted well to several roles. She appeared in How to Marry a Millionaire, 1953, with Marilyn Monroe and Betty Grable, demonstrating her wit and timing. She returned on Broadway in 1970 and 1981, receiving Tony Awards for Applause and Woman of the Year. She kept playing tough roles in film, receiving praise for roles in 1974's Murder on the Orient Express and 1990's SIX's The Mirror Has Two Faces. She received an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Bacall was more than an actor. She embodied independence, sophistication, and endurance. Her authority and charm came from her rich, smoky voice, frequently mimicked but never duplicated. She spoke up, was politically active, and stood by her convictions off-screen. She was respected by audiences and colleagues for her work and personal integrity. Both By Myself, 1978, which won the National Book Award, and Now, 1994, her autobiographies, reveal her incredible life. Lauren Bacall's marriages were romantic and stressful, and she was close to legendary Hollywood luminaries. She married iconic actor Humphrey Bogart at 20 and 45 in 1945, her first and most famous marriage. On the 1944 film To Have and Have Not, they met. This picture launched Bacall's career and started one of Hollywood's most famous love tales. Their on-screen connection rapidly transferred to real life, and despite their age difference, they married, setting a standard for passion and fidelity in an industry known for short relationships. Bacall's marriage to Bogart made her part of the Bogey and Bacall mystique and a key character in Hollywood's golden age. For 12 years, their marriage symbolized stability, sophistication, and artistic teamwork. They had 2 children, Stephen and Leslie. Bacall was 32 when Bogart died of esophageal cancer in 1957, leaving her a widow. She survived the loss with great strength, although she subsequently realized Bogart was her true love. Bacall married Jason Robards, a superb actor who won an Academy Award and many Tony Awards several years later. Bacall hoped for happiness and security when they married in 1961. Bacall's son, Sam Robards, solidified her familial link to acting. Robards' alcoholism from the outset strained their home life and the relationship. Bacall tried to help, but the obstacles were too great. After losing Bogart, Bacall divorced in 1969 and lived alone again. Bacall had children and intense personal experiences during both marriages, but she also developed a reputation for endurance, grace, and unwavering honesty about love. Her Humphrey Bogart and Jason Robards marriages were very different. A sad death ended a famous romance, while a rocky marriage ended in divorce. But collectively, they show Bacall's compassion and her capacity to handle joy and sadness with dignity. Lauren Bacall was famous for her smoky voice, beauty, and brief affair with Humphrey Bogart. The world saw their marriage as a fairy tale of old Hollywood grace and love. In private, Bacall remarked that reality often differed from the public's idealized image. In later talks, Bacall revealed the nasty reality about living with Bogart and her marriage's problems. Humphrey was never easy. In one of her most honest moments, Bacall said, "People think of him as a charming macho guy with a golden heart, but he was nasty, dismissive, and selfish. Living with him was unexpected. Many times it was lonely and humiliating." Her statements shocked Bogey and Bacall followers who loved their romance. Bacall wanted to show that the truth was more convoluted. She said Bogart's behaviors made living miserable. The man drank constantly. Sometimes he stayed up till morning with his Hollywood pals, laughing and joking while I was alone. He could become irritable, aggressive, and rude when he drank. It was awful to see this world-famous man become a sloppy, bitter drunk at home. Bacall said the public rarely saw this side of Bogart because the studio system controlled his image, but she lived with it daily. Bogart's arrogance also strained their marriage. Bacall admitted he likes control. "If I made my own decisions, even tiny ones, he would get annoyed. He thought his word was definitive because he was older, more established, and more influential in the industry. I disliked it. It made me feel stuck in a marriage where my thoughts didn't matter." Bacall was 20 when they married, while Bogart was in his mid-40s. The large life experience gap produced ongoing strain. Bacall also remembered feeling objectified and treated more like a property than lover. "Humphrey wanted me to be the perfect wife, quiet when he wanted solitude, glamorous when he wanted me on his arm, and accommodating when he needed it. I loved him, but some days I felt like I had given up my identity to please him. The worst truth was that I disappeared to maintain the idea of a happy marriage." Despite these painful disclosures, Bacall never denied her love for Bogart and their passionate relationship. "Do not assume we have nothing excellent in common. He made me laugh and was tender when I believed in our love's magic. But people must realize love and marriage are different. You might love someone deeply and feel suffocated or mistreated in marriage. Bogey and I lived that way." Her sheer honesty made her statements truly moving. Hollywood had always seen Bacall as a powerful, independent lady. She disclosed the cost of her renowned romance by discussing her marriage's darker side. She wanted her truth documented for history, even though the public would likely always remember her and Bogart as one of Hollywood's greatest love stories. "I must admit the truth to myself. A young woman who often cried to sleep next to a man the world thought was wonderful, not the glossy magazine picture." In her final years, Bacall seemed bitter and accepting. She lived during a remarkable period in Hollywood, but she refused to let nostalgia change the facts. Bogart was a terrific actor, yet imperfect. Love, pain, and disillusionment characterized our marriage. Unfortunately, it was often harsh, unpleasant, and tragic underneath the gloss. People should know that. Bacall's candor demolished the Hollywood marital myth. She depicted two people dealing with power, addiction, control, and heartbreak, not a romance. She left a more human and sympathetic legacy. Even celebrities like Lauren Bacall admitted that love wasn't always enough to overcome marriage difficulties. Lauren Bacall, a Hollywood legend, died on August 12, 2014. The Dakota, a famed Upper West Side apartment block in Manhattan that has housed celebrities, artists, and cultural figures for decades, was where she died following a catastrophic stroke. The Dakota is a landmark building, well known for its Gothic facade facing Central Park. It has traditionally been associated with exclusivity and mystery. The Dakota was not just an address for Bacall. It was a sanctuary where she spent many of her later years, surrounded by memories of her long career and her beloved family. When she had a stroke, emergency responders transported her to New York Presbyterian Hospital, a top city hospital. They tried everything, but she died. The hospital verified her death, and news agencies worldwide swiftly reported that Lauren Bacall, one of the most iconic voices and faces of film, had died at 89. Bacall was buried in Glendale, California, at Forest Lawn Memorial Park. As the ultimate resting place of many film stars, performers, and cultural icons, this cemetery was fitting for Bacall, who became a Hollywood legend. She was buried alongside Humphrey Bogart, her first husband and one of the greatest performers of all time, and many of her peers from the age when films were America's favorite form of entertainment. Her interment at Forest Lawn commemorated her return to the film business and her permanent place in its legacy, allowing fans to honor her legacy.